Every life has a story, and every story is worth sharing. Your story, my story, and our story speak of victory and defeat, joy and sorrow, resilience and vulnerability. They are not just our story, they are Christ's story in us. They are Kingdom Stories from Down Under.
It's not often that you meet people who are quite young and they understand the call of God on their life and they run with it. Often young people are quite confused and they don't know in which direction to go. Yet some of them do understand what God calls them to do and they get up every morning and go for it. Well, today we have a young person, a beautiful young lady, Leticia Price, who is doing just that. She understood God's call on her life and every day she engages in it. Welcome to Kingdom Stories from Down Under, Leticia.
Thank you, Nathaniel.
You know, we meet a lot of young people and we want to encourage them, we want to build them up and push them in the right direction, but you don't want to push them too much. Yet, I think the Holy Spirit has convicted you to go for it from a young age.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no wrong answer.
Yes and no, you know. It took me a little time to get there. I made my mistakes as well.
Of course you would have.
When I was younger.
Yeah.
So I'm still young, but I've had my trials and I've overcome them, and now I would not want to relive them again.
No.
Yeah, so I wasn't born that way.
No. Well, we get something given in our DNA, but for a lot of the things we actually have to work, don't we, in life? So where did it all start for you? Were you born here in Perth?
Yeah, I was born here in Perth. I was raised a Christian. Went to church. Was born in a church, really.
In a church, literally.
Literally. Pretty
Born
much.
a Catholic, I will die Catholic, kind of thing. No.
Sort of thing.
No.
Bit of a cult church, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't agree with their teachings now that I'm older.
Hmm.
But always loved Jesus as a child growing up. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of kids do. They have that natural connection.
Well, if your Sunday school teacher and your family is good, and if they're kosher, the rest of the church doesn't really.
Yeah.
And if they love you and they care for you, the doctrine can be a bit skewed. It doesn't matter when you're young, does it?
Not when you're young, no.
Was it a Christian church or was it?
Yeah, it was a Christian church, and I have no complaints per se.
Seventh-day Adventist or?
Sounds like it, but no.
Potter's house? No, I'm not.
We did go to the Potter's house too. Mum always tried to find the right teaching.
Okay.
And it took a while.
Okay.
It took a very long while, actually. So we went to the Potter's house. We did go there. This was Revival Fellowship that I grew up in.
Okay, I'm probably not familiar with it, so I don't know much about it, so I can't say much. It's just that we've had people who had been to the other churches on the show.
Yeah.
And they've had their own challenges, both in the Seventh Day and in Potter's House. Not necessarily that they're bad churches. It's just that they had their challenges.
Yeah, and I think it's an unrealistic growing up, to be this perfect Christian. I think you'll find that the kids that I grew up with may come across as the perfect Christians in the church, but I don't think personally maybe know Jesus. They have to be so perfect they can't live their own life to experience Jesus.
It's a lot of works and a lot of pretense.
Yeah, it wasn't until I did my own thing that I learned really how much Jesus loves me. So if I was just told that, it's not the same.
So what's your earliest memory of childhood?
Meaning?
No, do you remember when you were 3 or 4 or 5?
Yeah, I do. I have memories probably about 3.
Yeah? What?
Well, we moved to Tasmania then.
From Western Australia?
Western Australia. Mum decided that she wanted to live in Tasmania. She took my brother and I, and my dad wasn't aware, so that lasted about 6 months until he came finding us.
Oh, so it was a getaway? Something happened?
No, it wasn't a getaway, but Mum just thought Dad would never let us go, and it was right. So she took us without his permission, and that's probably why I remember it.
So you went to Launceston or Hobart?
Hobart, yeah.
Okay.
That's just one of many childhood memories I
Yeah.
have.
So your brother younger or older?
Younger.
Okay. And what's the difference? A couple of years?
2 years, yeah.
2 years, nice. Okay, so you went to Tassie. Your mum just wanted a new start, or
Yeah.
do you know what happened between them? Why she decided to
Oh,
go?
that wasn't like her leaving my dad. They were
Okay.
already divorced at this
Oh, they were
point.
divorced?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But she took my brother and I.
And your brother's from the same dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
And my dad wasn't too happy about that.
Okay, I
So
understand.
it's imprinted in me. This
Okay,
memory.
yeah. I hear you. And then he came back to find you,
Yeah.
and he did find you,
Yeah.
and then he wanted you to come back to WA so he can spend time with the kids, not so much with the mum.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then mum came back, so here we are, back in WA.
okay. Did mum remarry?
No, mum is not remarried. I don't think she has any interest in remarrying.
Okay.
Dad remarried.
Mm-hmm.
He did right away, so we've always had a stepmom and stepsisters.
And you spend weekends with him occasionally or on regular basis?
Occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely.
What suburb did you grow up in here in Perth when you came back?
Vic Park?
Vic Park, and you went to school in Vic Park?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
East Victoria Park Primary.
Is Vic Primary? Nice, nice. How was it at school?
Yeah, it was as good as school gets, I reckon.
Were you pretty good at studies?
And yeah, until I hit high school.
What was your favourite subject?
Math.
You were good at maths. Nice.
Don't ask me that now, but
And
back then I was.
church life was pretty good. You go every Sunday.
Sunday, Friday, Wednesday, Saturday.
Quite involved. It was in that area, the church.
This one was in Yanchba.
Okay,
This
so
is where my dad went to church.
just south of Fremantle. So it was quite far from Vic Park.
Is that south of Fremantle?
Yeah. Yeah. Coogee. Around there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember when you're so
That's
young,
alright.
you know, I just
No.
kind of got in the car and went.
Okay. So, I mean, it's still a 40-minute drive every time, wasn't it? 35, 40 minutes.
Yeah, well, so my mum and dad were married in the church. When they divorced, one could stay. So Dad
Only one
stayed.
could stay. That
Yeah.
There was the rules in the church.
Yeah, so Dad stayed and we would go when we saw Dad. Then.
Okay. And then mum went to a local church.
Well, yeah, then Mum was trying to find the best church she could. We didn't always grow up in church with Mum, just
Mhm.
because I think she had a pretty bad experience with that church being
Yeah.
ostracising her.
Yeah, it would have been tough.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of churches do handle divorce very well.
No.
Yeah, it's just the way, people are, unfortunately. We'd love the world to be perfect and no divorce to happen, but, it's not always the case, is it? And being at home with mum, challenging or quite a smooth ride?
Challenging.
Didn't get along well?
I think being a young girl,
Mm-hmm.
you're going through so many different changes, and Mum's pretty young, so there was about a 20-year aged gap.
Yeah.
There wasn't, there still is.
Yeah.
A 20-year age gap. I think it was difficult for Mum, being single with 3 children as well,
So you've got
and so young.
You've got an older brother or sister?
I do.
Okay.
I have an older brother, younger brother, and a younger sister now.
Okay, so 4.
4.
Nice. So the younger sister is the stepsister?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, half sister, but
From that side?
from Mum's side.
Oh, mum's side?
Mum's side.
Oh, so she didn't remarry, but she had a child?
Yeah.
Okay, I hear.
It's a long story.
Yeah, it is. Now, coming back to you. So school's pretty smooth, things are going well, primary school, you navigated somehow with your brothers and sisters. When did the sister come in?
I was 14, so
Okay.
I'd almost left school at that point.
You actually left school?
Yeah, I did. I left school at 15.
Why was that?
I moved to America when
So
I was 15.
You were 14, that's grade 7, so you finished primary school.
I finished primary school, yeah.
And then?
I did year 8, year 9 in high school.
Okay.
And then in year 10, I left. I won a contract in America with a top agency there to model, and saw it as a fantastic opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Were you introduced to modeling here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the agent from America scouted me, and I represented Australia in a competition, and that won me a contract with Ford. So it just sounded like too good of an opportunity to miss. So my dad wasn't too impressed with it, but Mum was quite supportive when I moved there.
On your own?
Yeah.
At 15?
Yeah.
In Detroit?
In New York.
New York, okay. Because Ford, I think it is, but maybe their marketing was in New York.
I think they have a few agencies.
Offices, agencies, okay. So you moved to New York. Did you stay with a family or on your own in an apartment?
There's a model apartment.
Okay.
5 girls to one room, 10 girls to one apartment kind of style.
Oh, quite dense.
And you're all kind of competing for the same work, and some are from third world countries where that is the money that they're going to send home to their families, so it's quite competitive. I've had a few crazy...
Scratch fights?
Yeah.
Mud fights?
Yeah.
Okay. So the same agency brings all this talent, these models, and they're hoping to obviously to promote them and be able to get contracts for them. So they didn't have a contract for you.
No.
You had a contract with the modeling agency, but the modeling agency didn't have work in it instantly.
No. Generally, you just rock up to the country that you're supposed to go to and meet 30 clients in 1 week.
Yeah.
And then from there, see what kind of response you get.
And how did it go with you?
Well, I lived there up until last year, so 13 years.
Oh, you shouldn't have said that. Now people can work it out. They can know your age. All right, so...
So it went well. It went well. I fell in love with New York. I was supposed to go there for 3 months, and the first 3 months, it was freezing, and I couldn't get along with anyone. I was so young.
So it was winter?
It was winter, it was January, and I didn't like it. And I was kind of on the phone to Mum, I don't really like it, people are kind of rude. And within the time that I was supposed to be coming home, I was like, I'm never coming home. This is now my home.
You scored a good job.
Or a few contracts. Friends, and just made my little life. I got an apartment with a friend, and I wasn't living in the model apartment anymore. I found some independence. And
were you just working for the agency, or you did other work as well?
Just for the agency.
And there was enough work to keep you going?
Yeah, I worked a lot. It's strange
more
for
photos,
a 15-year-old.
more still or videos?
Mostly photos, yeah.
Photos.
Yeah. I was a bit short for a runway compared to these 6-foot giants over there.
Yeah.
So lots of photos, and it's strange to think of a 15-year-old modelling for 30-year-old, 40-year-old women.
Yeah, clothes. And was it mainly clothes or jewellery or a mixture?
Everything. Hair, makeup, jewellery, clothes, you name it, I did it.
And was it good money or not so fantastic? The agency was reaping in the benefits.
The agency definitely benefited, but at the time particularly, because the recession hadn't hit there yet in 2010, so before that I was killing it.
Yeah.
And I was so young, I had no idea what money really was,
So you weren't saving, you were just splattering.
No, I just would get 5 manicures a day kind of thing, Can we change the colour?
Okay.
Taxis everywhere. I was living the life.
Their life, yeah. Alcohol, drugs?
Parties, alcohol, drugs, you name it.
Yeah.
I went from, like I said, loving Jesus my whole life to kind of in the deep end of the big bad city, big bad apple, and in the glitz and glam of the rich and famous.
Yes.
You name it. I went to Paris Hilton's birthday party, and all of these things when that was a time. And
did it get abusive as well? Were they taking advantage of you?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've experienced a lot in these 10 years. The more money people have, the more power they think they have, and they just do whatever they want. And unfortunately, modelling agencies are subject to it because a rich man thinks, hey, who do I go to? An agency, you know, and they go, we'll book these 5 girls on a Vogue photo shoot, and the agency thinks it sounds great.
Yeah.
You know, everyone flies to this city, meets there, and there's an ulterior motive behind it. They might have clients that are shooting for Vogue, and the agencies are all involved, but somebody's the head of this, and he pops in and does what he wants to do to who he wants to do it.
And that goes on
all the time.
All the time.
I've seen it only a couple of times, but I've heard stories, and I'm imagining it would go on a lot.
And you had no say?
Oh, I mean, like drugging people and where they have no say.
Yeah, getting them to a state where they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, it was. I learned so much, you know, and I continue to learn.
Could you guard yourself, or you didn't care either?
Well, I was so young, you know, I didn't really know what to do. I think I used to do a lot of things in terms of modelling photo shoots, like holding a cigarette or whatever, just because I didn't know how to say no, and I was so young.
Yeah.
Being an adult now, I'm like, I'll only do a particular thing if it suits me, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the worry for young girls going into an industry like that is you're dealing with top photographers or people you've read about and who are influential or who you think will get you where you want to go or whatever. So you just sort of do what they ask you to do.
How did it affect you? Like, would you have moments of awareness? When was it? Were you getting clarity along the way, or were you dismissed most of it?
No,
you just locked your mind or blocked.
At the time, I was having the time of my life. I thought, you know, I was in relationships, I was going out, I was extremely popular, had lots of friends, had my independence, which I didn't really like, living at home or going to school or whatever. I had a great time, but it wasn't until about 10 years later that it all caught up with me, you know, who I was.
So what attracted people to you? Was it just the looks or also your personality?
I think both. I don't think it was just my looks, I hope not.
No. But I mean, you know, sometimes they want to have among them in their circle of friends some good-looking people.
Oh, for sure. For sure, that goes on a lot. People get paid for models to go out just to this place just to be seen there.
Just for photos, just for parties.
A lot of it is just based on purely how you look.
Yeah.
And for the first time last year, I had a job interview where they asked me about me, you know, who I am, what I like, and that was nice.
Yeah. Trauma?
Oh yeah. Not anymore.
Wounds? Healed?
Healed wounds, but I didn't really realize how far into it I was until I guess it was about 4 years ago. I came home to recover after a breakup, and my visa usually takes 2 weeks to renew.
Yes.
At this point, took 2 years to renew. But for those 2 years, we had no answer on what was going on with it. So all I wanted was to be back in New York, probably back with my ex, back working, back doing whatever I was doing. And God had a completely different plan for my life at that point, which was that's basically my testimony I've had plenty of time to reflect, and I started to think maybe my visa wasn't going to come through because I didn't deserve to go back and do it all again, or I had a great opportunity and this is what I did instead. And I was like an onion, just layer after layer, and I was 24, living in my sister's bedroom with her, sharing a room with her, from so much independence to that. And I didn't want to get a house, I didn't want to get a job, I didn't want to get a car because I just wanted to be in America. And yeah, I really could reflect on what kind of life I lived and maybe why I shouldn't go back to America.
Was it surreal almost?
Oh yeah, Yeah. It was surreal for sure.
What knocked you out the most? Do you think the fame, the glamour, or the alcohol, the narcotics, the drugs?
I wasn't like...
You weren't constantly drunk?
No.
So you were never addicted?
No, not like that. I was very lucky. I was always very strong-willed.
Mm-hmm.
And I always loved Jesus, even in my darkest times, you know. So
not that you were connecting with him.
Yeah, but I would.
In the back of the mind, would you pray? Would you say?
Yeah, of course, always.
God help me, oh Jesus, I hope I can pull this. Yeah.
Always, but God let me do what I wanted to do.
Did you feel guilty as well, knowing?
Yeah.
Like the guilt will sink in the morning, or?
I just wasn't happy. I was way too young to make any decisions on my own.
So the draw card, was it independence or glamour or something else?
I was making great money. I was mingling with famous people. I was so young that it was very exciting.
Yeah.
I loved going out. I loved having friends. I loved being so popular. I loved modelling, the style of work that I was doing, getting paid so much money for getting my hair and makeup done. And
yeah.
There was plenty of draw cards, and I still do. I still love modelling. This, you know.
No one saw you. No one cared for you in this time in New York. No one. There was no an angel coming your way, a mentor, somebody that could spot you. Or probably dismissed them. Have you had any encounters along the path?
Well, I think at this point, God really just gave me, as He does to everybody, full free will. Do everything and anything you like. You know, He knew that the devil was just going to grab me and take me on a roller coaster, and that obviously I needed to go through that to come back to Jesus and know that He was my only chance of salvation.
So it could have been far worse.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Could have been far worse. I'm very lucky. I've experienced girls suicidal, so much depression. There's, you know, as a job, you just get rejected.
All the time.
Yeah, picked about like how you look, and you've just spent an hour to get ready to think you look as best you can, and they're just straight up like,
no.
Ew.
No.
Yeah, it takes a lot, especially after many years of that, you know. A lot of the most beautiful girls I know are the most insecure girls that I know.
Oh, it would affect you emotionally.
Yeah.
It would mess you up.
Yeah.
What was constant during that time for you? Was there anything constant? Was there an anchor during all that period? No anchor.
During that period, my anchor was my selfishness.
Your ego?
Yeah.
Hey, ego is a defense mechanism. So you were strong-willed, as you said. You had
I was in control of everything. I was flying here, there, and everywhere. I was living my best life, is what they say. Okay. You know, is what they think.
So now you're back home. You're with your sister in her little bedroom back in Vic Park. Is it Vic Park now still?
Oh, okay. So I've been back and forth a few times since then, but now I'm at home on my own. Yes.
Oh, you're on your own?
Yes.
Okay, so your sister's gone, but you're in her bedroom. And you have to confront your monsters.
Yeah, it was, I didn't know where my visa was, why I wasn't able to go back to America. I had my dog there, I had my house there, I had my career there. All my friends, my whole life that I built for 10 years was there. And I was just desperate to go back there.
Sure.
The best thing was the hardest thing, you know. So it was very hard for me to have no answer, no idea what was going on. No stability. I was living out of a suitcase for 2 years, just waiting. And also just waiting, you know.
So were you at home with Mum?
Yeah. I did a little bit of travelling, but for the most part I was at home. And one night I was driving home from a friend, and in my windscreen wiper was coming all these flashbacks, like, maybe your visa's not coming because you did this, and maybe you're like this now because this is what happened to you when you were this age. And remember how you said this? Well, maybe that's why you're like this now. And there were just terrible memories coming at me.
Yeah.
It was Satan, and I'm going, yes,
Yeah.
I did that happened. Also, that happened. I am that way. What more? Keep going. And they did. They just kept coming and coming. And I was like kind of dodging them as I'm driving home. And when I got home, I looked in the mirror and I was just like, who am I?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah, all of these things did happen. That is who I was or whatever. And now what? That's the truth. And now what? And I just had this grace in the mirror, that wasn't physical. It was coming out of me, of this stillness and peace. Because in these 2 years, I only had Jesus. I didn't have a house. I didn't have anything. I just relied completely on him at this point for the first time in my life. He was my rock.
So did you start reading the Bible?
Oh yeah, praying, meditating.
So as you were staying home?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what drew you back to it? Just the loneliness, the insecurity,
agony that I was in.
The pain.
I was in pain. I had just come out of an engagement. Like I said, my whole home was.
So why did that engagement finish?
Oh, God probably put his hand in it.
Sure, but I mean, in relationship terms.
It was a 10-year relationship that should have never been, really.
Oh, so you were with one guy
for the whole time, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
was he part of the agency? He was one.
No, he had nothing to do with the industry. But
a lot older than you?
He was 13 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
So we got together when I was very young again, so I was very influential, and he kind of molded me like how he liked everybody to be. So I lost my identity completely. I lost my free spirit, my love for Jesus even, I kind of...
What was he like? He was a gentle guy, a tough guy?
Gentle is not the word I would use to describe him, no. Yeah, he was not a good person to be with, especially when you're so young and influential. And he really took advantage of me for that whole time. And I was in a toxic, abusive relationship where I put him before God, like he was my idol, kind of thing. And he loved that, I'm sure,
Yeah.
And he just took advantage of that because I was so loving, and instead of giving that out to the world and to God and coming back at me, it was just given and never reciprocated. So
for him you were just an object of his pleasure.
Yeah.
And someone he can show off. Yeah,
and use and abuse.
And you just accepted that? You just didn't know any better in a sense?
I guess I had no self-confidence. I think I just was so young, like I keep saying, way too young to move anywhere on your own. Was
it more emotional abuse or physical abuse as well?
Mostly emotional, but he was not a great guy, let's just put it that way.
Okay.
And I just put up with anything, and I continued to almost beg for his love, and it became this... yeah, it was a long...
So how did it finish? You came to Australia and he didn't wait?
So we broke up our engagement. I came to Australia to just refresh myself. That's when my visa...
And why did you break the engagement?
Oh, just from fighting. It just... One fight went to another, and, it just wasn't working.
Okay. So he had proposed to you and you said yes initially?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But when that broke up, I was just devastated. It took me at least a year to recover from that. And, the whole time my visa was lost in the mail was the biggest blessing ever, because I would have gone straight back to America and straight back to him.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
I I needed to sit down and learn all my lessons, and you know, I think the hardest.
So when did you make the click?
Well, so the first year was kind of just getting over it, getting myself back together, healing.
Did you have someone in your life who was helping you?
I did. My auntie was a pillar of strength, and she just continued to tell me scriptures and send me songs and share how much Jesus loves me, and also remind me of who I was when I was 15, before I moved away, and having my family around me, which I hadn't had for all that time, who all love me and support me and want the best of me, and all Christians as well. So
it was a nurturing environment. It was the healthiest environment you could be in.
Yeah, it sure was.
And then?
And then, after all these flashbacks, which is like 2 years later now, and looking in the mirror and going, despite all of these things, you know, I had this, it was almost like I had a horse body and a real human head, and my hair was art, but it was somehow flowing down, and I was so elegant, and I was like, wow, okay. And I just went to bed on that note. I was thinking, Leticia, like, you have all this money saved because you just want to go back and start a life in America. And it's been 2 years now and you're not getting any answer. And like, why America? You know, why are you holding yourself to one thing? And I decided, oh, I have a friend in Paris, I have a friend here, like I could kind of go anywhere I want. And I was really excited, actually. I went to bed like renewed a little bit.
Yeah.
And I woke up that morning early at around 6 a.m. to finally my visa approved. It was lost in the mail, had been for the whole 2 years. And I just fell on my knees and cried because I realized that it was Jesus who wanted me to first spend some time with him, make him my idol, shed all my layers of my onion. And despite not being worthy of going back and doing it all again, he gave that opportunity back to me and said, go. You want to go so much, go back. Which was amazing. It was amazing because at that point I'd let go of going. I'd let go of my friends, I'd let go of my career, I'd let go of it all. And I went back to New York as a brand new person. Brand new person. I was like, it's like I flew there without a plane, you know.
Did you get baptized?
I've been baptized a few times.
Okay. I hear you. That's fine.
I've been baptized a couple of times because like I said, I was born a Christian, always loved Jesus, and then was baptized in church, and then went and lived my own life, did my own thing, and was not living a Christian lifestyle at all. And that was the time when Jesus plucked me out and said, you are mine.
Yeah.
And he took me away from America, and he took away all of the things that I thought I wanted. And basically I had like my sister's bed and him, you know, is all I had. And it's funny how it's always in the times when you least deserve it and you least expect it. I wasn't asking for him to come into my life. I knew I was in a bad situation, but I wanted that bad situation at the time. Yeah.
So when you went back to New York, you knew you were changed?
Completely changed. I was a brand new person. I got rejected from the modelling industry. I still had a few clients who loved me from years before, and they were friends and they continued. So I probably made the most money in this time, but I was rejected from the industry completely because I was just so clean, you know.
Yeah.
They're not used to girls like that. They want somebody who go partying with them after and who wear what they tell them to and whatever.
Yeah.
So I was a brand new person going back to New York, and I was so filled with Jesus that I had a vision of sharing a message of him and how he's healed me and how everyone can have that healing. And in my physical form, saw it as like being super successful modeling,
Yes.
that I could reach all these people, you know, and I'm going, what's happening? And COVID hit, you know, that didn't happen at all. I've come home.
So you that's when you made the decision to return?
I spent about a year during COVID there, but I went straight back to, not straight back, but I went back to my ex again.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Even though you had Jesus?
I did. I think the devil was like,
He knew.
came to me even stronger. You know,
he
really
knew your
tested
weakness.
me. And Jesus also gave me back my visa and was like,
If
you're
that's
so
what you want.
desperate to go, like, go. And when I got back into this scenario, again, I was a completely changed person. And nothing was working because he hadn't changed. And nothing was working, and I knew this time that I was doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And so I made the decision myself. Instead of being like kicked out and go back to Australia and never see your friends again, this time I got to see my friends and think, we don't share anything in common, and be back with my ex and think, you don't love me, and, you know, go back into the industry and think, none of you guys care about me. For me to have the decision to say, I don't want anything to do with this, actually.
So you actually left him?
Yeah, I did. Left everything. I left my career, my friends and my city, my dog, my ex,
You cut the umbilical cord.
I did, and happily, extremely happily, because where before it was like the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Sure.
I was a brand new person. Nothing that I used to do is anything that I wanted. And I just weighed it up. I'm like, well, a wholesome life at home with my family, a normal job. And at the time, I obviously didn't know what I was coming home to. I just, I knew I probably wouldn't fly again due to COVID, so I knew I was saying goodbye.
Was it difficult for you to get back here with COVID? Very hard to get on a plane and...
Yeah, especially because I knew that I wasn't going to go back again.
Okay.
If you ask any of my people who know me, my family or friends, me living in Australia happily, they would have never imagined that.
Yeah.
You know, I was going to live in New York till I was
Death.
80 something. Yeah. So that's the blessing in itself, that I'm home, wanting to be home happily. And
so what church did you settle in when you got back from the United States?
Times Square Church.
No, here.
Oh, here, sorry. Linwood Christian Community Church.
Is there a Church of Christ or?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And how did the Hands and Feet come about?
So when I landed in Sydney, I quarantined. I thought I was going to live in Sydney because I still like a little bit of a city life.
Modern life.
Yeah. And I can still model there. And there's still
there's more opportunities.
Yeah. And I came back for Christmas, this time last year, back to Perth, and my brother introduced me to the church that he was going to. And in their flyer, they had a job notice for a manager of a warehouse. Which doesn't sound like me.
Yeah.
You know, from like high fashion to high vis kind of thing.
Yeah. Gloves.
Yeah. Hard hats, boots. And because I was a changed person and I saw that maybe through modelling I could reach people because it was a bad industry, that maybe I could tell them about Jesus that way. That was my only desire now from that point on. And it wasn't through modelling that was going to happen. And Hands and Feet is a charity who distribute food to churches, who then churches distribute it to their communities. and it's about sharing the love of Jesus and trying to be more like him, just openly giving, loving, and
So you applied for the job?
yeah, I was like, Mum's nudging me at church.
And on your CV, you've got no experience in the field whatsoever.
At all. And you know, I didn't need a truck license, but they probably should have made me get one. It's been an interesting year. Been the best year of my life.
So they recruited you? That was it? You got the job?
Yeah, I got the job.
Did you go to Sydney to get trained a little bit?
Mm-hmm. Because their warehouse has been going 7 years in Sydney.
Yeah.
They just opened in Brisbane and Perth in March.
And you had to set it all up here?
Yeah.
Did I have the warehouse or not yet?
No, they had the warehouse, they had the truck. I have a volunteer with me, Steve.
Yeah, I know. Amazing.
Yeah, he can do everything. He's a jack of all trades. He got the truck registered, you know, he set up some
And the
pallet
fridge
shelving.
and freezer, you don't have fridges and freezers?
No, we do. We have a big cool room, we
Okay.
have freezers. And yeah, my job now is driving a truck around and sharing.
Picking up from Coles and Woolies.
and Woolies.
And then rehashing them a little bit in the factory, in the warehouse. You got volunteers coming through to do that, or just?
We have a few volunteers. More would be great if anyone's interested.
Where is the warehouse?
In
Kedah?
Osborne Park.
Aussie Park. Okay.
Yeah. So it's I'm not sure if it's my punishment or my gift from God.
I love the way you put it.
I'm still trying to work that one out.
Community services.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're on parole.
Some days I'm like, wow, I'm so blessed, you know,
Yeah.
to be connecting with all these churches and
Yeah.
pastors. And then some days I'm sweating and I've got 5 more collars to go to and I've just loaded 200 kilos onto the truck and I'm like...
You don't need to go to the gym anymore, do you?
No, I don't.
A lot
I
of
should,
lifting.
but I don't.
A lot of lifting and pushing and
It's full on.
sorting.
And now that it's summer, you know, whew,
Yeah.
it's hot work.
But you're enjoying it.
Like I say, I have my days. I love what I do. And I do feel extremely blessed to be in the position that I am in. And then there's other days where I'm going, what did I do so wrong? Yeah. No.
Is it full time or
I'm on
3
a
days?
part-time, yeah.
3 days a week?
3 days a week.
Okay. What else do you do with your time?
So I've just launched a website selling vintage clothing.
Okay.
It's been a very busy few years doing that on the site. I still model.
So vintage clothing, is that a
Passion.
it's a passion?
Yeah.
And do you buy these and then tidy them up a little bit and sew them together or whatever you girls do with them, and then you on-sell them, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
It
Are you
literally
good with
opens-
sewing and creative like that, or?
Yeah, I can do a little sewing, nothing special. If it needs to be, you know, shirt or special things, I get someone to do it for me.
Okay.
Most of the time, it's literally finding these things, and I've accumulated them from traveling all around the world, so they're very unique pieces, and usually don't need anything doing to them.
Yeah.
And I was lucky to find them for
Bargains.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can still source them, or you have a big database.
We have a big database already. Should keep us going for a few years.
Good.
But we can source them because I love thrifting anyway. I source them all the time.
So what era are you?
We've got 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Male and female, or just dresses?
Just dresses for now.
Yeah.
Wouldn't mind adding a couple male things in later.
Mm.
We've got dresses now, nightwear, and going on to accessories and swimwear.
Okay.
In a month or so, just need to sit down for a second.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
And who are your clients?
Well, no one right now, considering we opened last week.
It's only online, yeah.
It's online, so hopefully worldwide clientele. I would say mostly from Australia, where we'll target, but
Just people want art, accessories from that period, or?
yeah, I'm hoping to bring it back a little bit in style. It was so feminine. Can't find the materials.
Yeah.
the prints, the colours
Yeah.
anymore. Everything's mass produced, so
Interesting.
yeah, everything's
And you're
handmade.
still doing a bit of modelling as well?
Still modelling. Not much goes on in Perth in
Yeah.
the modelling
Yeah.
scene.
But I mean, you're still connected to that
Yeah.
world in a sense. And
Still work a couple of times a month,
Yeah.
and that really helps.
does it help you more emotionally than
No.
financially, or financially?
Financially.
Okay.
Emotionally, I go back to work and they sit around, they do my hair and makeup, and they gossip about that person, and then that's it, you know? That used to be my life, you know.
Yeah.
I just sit there gobsmacked at how that used to be.
Something
You don't
that
have to go home and write any emails, you don't have to think
Yeah.
about anything. And that was my career for so long.
Bubble.
Such a bubble. Such
Yeah.
a bubble.
So what's next for you? Obviously, you've got this new project now with the vintage clothing.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Queen and the Fox.
Queen and the Fox.
It's my auntie and I.
Okay, we'll give it a bit of a
She's the
pitch.
Queen, I'm the Fox.
So queenandthefox.com.au?
.com.
.com. Queenandthefox.com. All right. I'm sure our listeners will find you. Queenandthefox.com. There you go, guys.
Enter at your own risk.
There's no dog, is there?
Sorry?
Is there a fox or a dog barking there?
There's lots of dogs in our photos. We always
Yeah.
try to get the family dogs in the photos.
Who's the model?
So I'm the model, my auntie's the photographer.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was fun. And we actually did that in the time that I was healing.
Oh, beautiful.
And that was
a nice project.
Yeah, together with my auntie, we were both growing and learning so much. She really restored my confidence in modelling, but in real life too. Just she's a very strong pillar, and she's a very soulful woman, and everything that she does is on faith. So
That's beautiful.
yeah, you go to.
Are you in a
her house.
relationship at the moment?
Am I in a relationship? No.
Are you
No.
trying to keep away for a while?
Yes.
There's still healing that needs to be done?
No healing. No healing. I'm completely fine. For the first time ever, I wake up happy every day.
Yeah.
You know, I used to spend probably 50% of my life in turmoil.
Okay.
And now I don't spend any time like that at all. And before I get into a relationship, I just want to be with Jesus for a few
Quite
years.
some time, yeah. Strengthen that intimacy.
Yeah, definitely.
That's beautiful.
Definitely.
So, what dreams do you have? What life dreams do you have?
My one and only dream is to share the message that Jesus loves you in all times and aspects and situations and scenarios of your life.
Yeah.
You know, there's not one person unworthy of his love, and I think a lot of the times we feel like we're so unworthy of even praying to him,
Yeah.
you know, at times. And in those times, you know, that's when he brings you in the closest and, you know, shows you his love the most, maybe even. And there's no more empowering, freeing, suddenly like I had nothing to do.
Yeah.
He could just do everything, you know, I didn't have to think about anything, and he just led the way. And the most amazing miracles happen to me all the time, where people just say exactly what I was thinking or tell me a scripture to read that I just needed to hear. And even the daily reading today was, the plans of men will fail, but God's purpose for us will prevail. You can, you know.
Do you see yourself married, children, family?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Legacy building?
Definitely.
Farmhouse, suburban house?
Farmhouse.
Horses?
I would like to get off the grid.
Off the grid.
Away from this crazy
Smart
society.
home. Sustainable living.
Maybe not a smart home.
Not that. just a little bit more
Just
of a
simple.
sanctuary.
Simple. And you know what? That was always my dream since I was a child.
Yeah.
It's just that no one could believe I lived in New York and loved it, because I was just the opposite of that. And I'm back to myself again.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wonderful. What would you like your grandkids, when they talk about their grandma, what would you like them to talk about when they think of you?
Fun.
Fun.
Uplifting. Strong. I picture the perfect husband, you know, and I think, well, if he's all of these things, what am I, you know? I can't just get that. So it's putting God first in everything. It's that wife or grandma or whatever that has trust and stability and calmness and doesn't worry and just gets things done, and by the time the kids wake up, she's got the house clean and the dress on and the makeup on, and everything's done, and she's just attentive, you know.
That's nice.
It sounds great, doesn't it?
You're gonna wear some traditional wear then, some
yeah.
vintage clothes.
You bet.
For all that.
I don't really wear anything else. This is from the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Beautiful. Well.
Yeah.
I think you'll make a good wife and a good mother and a good grandma, and maybe even a great grandma. You know, I think you're gonna live till 100.
Hopefully not. I feel about 100 at this point.
I do believe that our generation, if I would consider myself part of your generation, I would be older, but I believe there's a good chance we will live much longer than previous generations. There's a strong chance because I think we live healthier. I think we eat better. I think we exercise more. I think our mindset is a lot stronger in the sense. And unless we suffer some horrible accidents or disease, I believe, the life expectancy will improve in the years to come. So, 100 here we come.
Haven't looked at it that way. I was thinking the opposite, but yeah, you know, McDonald's and all these fast food places that are new. I
don't know. I mean, I don't eat much there, but occasionally when we spoil the kids, but generally we try and look for wholesome foods. Leticia, what would you like to say to young girls whose dream is to become a New York model? So they're, 11, 12, 13, 14, dreaming of their glamorous lifestyle.
Well, nothing is what it seems, for one. It's really not that glamorous. Very nice to have your hair and makeup done and do a few poses. You have to be extremely strong. You have to have a great head on your shoulders and stay firm in who you are. Don't compromise what feels uncomfortable for you. It's definitely not all it's cracked up to be. That was never really my dream. It just kind of fell into me, but I did think I wanted to be a famous singer when I was younger, and the industry is a scary place. It's a scary place for a young girl to be. I would suggest finish school. I would suggest go check out this big bad city with a parent first, I kind of just went there and was supposed to be there on my own for a few months, where if mum came with me or if somebody came with me.
Auntie.
Yeah. Oh. She wouldn't have let me stay for sure. But just to settle you in and keep close contact with the people who love you, because it might sound fun to run away and be independent and make your own decisions. But mums somehow are always right. So I'm learning. And had I kept in contact more and listened to their advice more, you know, well, it was all learning. I obviously had to learn the hard way, but if you don't have to learn the hard way, I suggest don't.
Yeah.
And Jesus is with you all the time, and we can forget that. Quite easily. So it just takes one
bad decision, one blinded moment, and that can shatter everything and take you in a different path.
It can. And there's no time that you're unworthy to pray, you know. He'll be there like that.
Yeah, he's always there.
Yeah. So, any young girls aspiring to model, I say don't.
Yeah.
Word of advice, don't. No, I've actually got a 15-year-old sister.
Yeah.
She's turning 15 tomorrow, and
Wow.
When I did come home, my agency was like, yeah, come in and visit and bring your sister, you know.
Yeah.
And when I went in, I'm like, hi guys, you know, remember me? Because they were just all over my sister.
Sure.
And within a minute, they're measuring her and they're taking photos of her and they're like, sign here. And she was on the spot, you know.
Yeah. And
I think for a young girl, it's
very tempting.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Did she sign?
She did.
You couldn't stop her, could you?
She did, but she's lucky that she has me as an older sister who's been there.
You'll watch out for her.
Yeah, and my mum knows a lot about it too. She said, okay,
Yep.
you can have Charlie, but she won't be travelling.
These are the terms and
she
conditions.
will be going to school and she won't take a day off. And definitely keep your parents involved in what you're doing. They have your best interest. And what else? It's just about staying true to you, really. And that's not just for modelling. That's in growing up as a young girl.
Yeah.
You know, you want to rebel. You want to meet a young boy maybe, or you want to go to that party, or you just want to do those things when you're that age. And sometimes you have to do them to learn. But if you don't have to, don't.
Don't do it. Thank you so much, Leticia. Look, I love how you know, obviously you care now. You care for the girls. You care for the generation that follows. And if they can avoid the mistakes that you've made, you know, even by sharing your story today, even if you help one girl, you've done an amazing job. Yeah. But I'm sure you're impacting many, many lives out there, both, you know, through hands and feet, but, you know, just by being there and sharing your story and being with the people. And I think that's really beautiful. So thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing your story at Kingdom Stories from Down Under.
Thank you, Nathaniel.
Thank you so much for joining us today. What a beautiful story. You know, every time we interview people here at Kingdom Stories from Down Under, you never know what you get. You know, you just explore, you go deep, you take each layer. And it's just beautiful how we can go, you know, 5-10 levels down and, you know, go mining for the gold. And the gold has come out tonight, and there was so much in it. And look, it doesn't really matter where you are on the journey or where you want to go on the journey. Just know that God is always there, and the glamour of the world is temporary, and there's always darkness behind that glamour. It's just a spotlight, and behind that spotlight there's a lot of darkness. But the true glory of God is much more beautiful, and it will attract you, and that lasts in eternity. So we'll name this From Glamour to Glory, because we believe that, you know, the glamour of this world pales in comparison to the glory that God wants us to be part of. Just to see it and to feel it and to live in that beautiful, beautiful, constant relationship with the Lord Jesus. For those of you who enjoy this content, please share it with other people so more and more people can grow and be encouraged on their path. We'll see you next time at Kingdom Stories from Down Under.
Thank you for joining us on Kingdom Stories from Down Under. We'd love it if you would subscribe, rate, and share these stories with your wider community. And remember, every story is worth sharing, including yours.